Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Broyans Farm. So today I started out getting the weed sprayed between our plastic rows, and then while I did that, Dad cut some hay. We're gonna hopefully bale tomorrow. And now what we're doing is heading to the field with our tractor slash cultivator, and we're gonna not only cultivate the onions, but we're gonna side dress them while we're cultivating them. So we're gonna do that right now. It's the first time me and Dad have actually done it, like, personally. Dave, the guy who usually helps us, he's my cousin in the greenhouses, is usually the one who does it, but we're gonna do it this time. So it's kind of a learning process, so we'll see how it goes. But before I head up to the onion field with Dad, I wanted to show you the garlic scapes. I told you in my last video I was gonna come back to these, and I never did. So right here is a garlic scape that was actually missed. And what a garlic scape is like, this is kind of like, I think, I'm not 100% positive when I say this, I think this will eventually create like a seed pod, and then it'll kind of like reseed itself. I think, I'm not 100% positive about that. But one thing I do know about it is, now I don't have clippers, we usually cut these off the clippers, and so I can't get it off of here. Oh, there we go. So right there, that's your garlic scape, and we'll go through our 10,000 bulbs here with a set of clippers, and just like this is perfect example how we do it. We cut it usually kind of on an angle, about as low as we can, about an inch from like the main stalk or like the nearest leaf. And then, like I said, we like to do it in the morning. That way the sun can come out and dry it out. It kind of scabs over, and now, you know, there's no open wound on there. And obviously with it being 10,000, it's kind of hard to get every single one. Like you can see, here's another one that they missed, but it's no big deal. A couple isn't gonna hurt nothing, but as long as we get the majority of them off. And we take them off because they kind of suck nutrients from the garlic, allows them not to get as big as what we would like them to. So it's just good, you know, so all that nutrients can get to the plant. And then another thing about garlic scapes is that they're extremely healthy. My mom actually just put them, she chopped it up and then put it with fried potatoes the other night, and it was delicious. It kind of reminded me, she kind of makes like these garlic beans, and that's kind of what it tasted like. And it was as tender as a bean once it was cooked. That's not the only thing you can do with them. My mom also made, I think she called it pesto the other night. She was making something in the blender, and then she put it in like ice cube trays, and she was gonna freeze it. I don't know what she was doing with it. It seemed a little bit gross. It was like this like green, like pukey looking stuff. But anyway, it's extremely healthy. So if you have garlic, definitely experiment with them, look it up, see what you can do with them. That's just a couple things I know of that my family does. When Frank and Steph were doing it, they actually made a pile of them. Now, obviously these are getting kind of wilty and they're not good anymore, but once they were freshly taken off, my mom actually took a bunch of them out to the market, put them in a bucket of water, and then we sold them. I don't know what she sold them for, but that way people who don't have garlic, you know, could get them and use them. All right.
Yeah, that's enough for you too.
Yeah.
Well, it's just what's coming now, that way they can mix together.
So what we just mixed together was a fertilizer. Half was calcium and half was, I'm not 100% positive. What was this fertilizer?
Well, this is corn starter and calcium.
Corn starter and calcium. So here is our cultivating tractor that I had in the other video. Basically, this tractor is only used for cultivating. We use it for nothing else, not even pulling wagons or anything like that. The cultivators stay on it all year. And we will also use it for hilling potatoes. So how it works is, it can actually do, I think, 2 rows at a time, but because we only have a single row planter and every row is a little bit different, we only cultivate 1 row at a time. And so basically the plant will be right where my finger is, and those 2 shoes will go on each side and till up the weeds and just kind of aerate the soil on both sides of the onion or peppers, whatever it is. But now today we're going to be side dressing the onions, which is basically just a fertilizer mixture to help them grow, give them a jump start. And so the mixture is right in here. It'll come down out of that tube, and then right behind these 2 discs
that I was telling you about that are on each side of the plant.
So here we go. How does this start? How do you run this?
When I drop it, it's gonna let that gear go over.
So it'll just automatically go.
And then there's two cultivators in the back that also scratch the dirt. So there's actually like,
I guess kind of technically you could say there's like 3 sets of them. There's one on each side of the plant, and then there's one out a little further than that, one out a little further than that, and then you have the set in the back. So I'm not exactly sure how many you would consider, but anyway, there's a lot there just to, you know, not let any, basically don't want any gap
from like here to here, like at least like 1.5 to 2 feet. That way there's no, or technically there won't be any weeds in this section, because that's the most important section where the weeds want to grow up the most. Out here, if we had to, we could spray them, but we can't spray any kind of weeds this close, or we'll be in danger of harming the onion or pepper, like I said, anything like that. We've really been struggling with onions the past couple of years. This is probably the best crop, where it's looking like the best crop we've had in the past probably about 3 years. Last year we lost like 3 or 4 rows right after we planted them. We don't really know what happened. But so far these, as you can see, they have nice, beautiful green stalks on them. They're just starting to bulb up a little bit. Can't really tell. I'm not gonna pull it out just because I don't want to ruin it. It'll only go to waste. But I think we planted, I want to say like 24,000 onions this year. We used to plant 30,000, but that was a lot. 22,000 is a lot, but 22,000 is a little more manageable than, you know, 30,000. And the cultivator's job is basically to take out these weeds right here that are in between the row. Now, if there's a weed like this close to the plant, that will not take care of that. We'll actually have to come through and weed that by hand, but there's not too much of that. Here's another one, not to get weeded. Ouch, I picky one. That's exactly what we want right there. Dead.
Okay, so now it's the next day. Dad and I got finished side dressing the onions and also cultivating them. It went very well. Then we got home. We had to wash everything off because that fertilizer will make everything rust. And now, like I said, here it is the next day. I'm out here at the corn maze field. Dad, a couple days ago, got the pumpkins planted. I didn't get to get any video of that, but here they are. Here's the rows. Obviously they're not coming up yet, but you can see this dirt section here is where they're planted. And then here's another row, and so on and so forth out to that pink flag right there. It's gonna be about exactly an acre of pumpkins. And I think I also have some sugar pumpkins, and I think I got some stackers out here as well. I'm not 100% sure about the stackers though. And then finally, the corn is starting to come up.
It's doing really well. It's really hard for the corn to come up. It's taken longer than all of our other fields just because there's so much rye. There's such a thick bed that, you know, it's just being suppressed right now. But as you can see, it is coming up through, slow but sure. There is some sections I'm a little bit nervous about that aren't coming up quite as good as I'd like, but like I said, they're still young. Like this one is just coming out of the ground. And like this section up here, from here to about right here, there is not one plant coming up in this, I would say, 3.5 foot section. But like I said, there's so much rye there, and it's still a little bit early yet. They still have a chance to come. I'm hoping they come. And if there's only a couple sections like that throughout the field, it's no big deal. But I mean, if we have a lot of them, that could be an issue. I don't think that's going to be an issue though. As far as I can see from here, everything looks beautiful, and you can see the corn rows straight down the row. I'm just getting a little bit impatient and, you know, getting excited, hoping to see the rows coming up. But I mean, they're really coming. But you can just see right here where the rye isn't so thick, I mean, the stand is almost 100%. So that's why I'm not really nervous. As long as the planter got down to the ground deep enough and the seed's in there, I know it's gonna go. So I just called the guy who's gonna cut my maize. I'm not exactly sure where he's out of, but I think he said he's around like 2-3 hours away. Ain't too bad, but he said he's usually booked about a week out. So he said call him again when the corn's about 1 foot to 16 inches high, and then that'll give him time, because he likes to cut it when it's around 3 foot high. I would think that's a little bit high because he uses a 0-turn mower, but that's what he does for a living, so I'm sure he knows. And anyway, so we're thinking, or his thoughts were, and my thoughts were, about in 3 weeks it'll be ready to start cutting, which for sure I'll be out here with my drone and everything flying around, getting a ton of video for that, because I can't wait. So now I'm out in the sunflower field. We're planting the 3rd planting now of sunflowers. You can see my first ones I planted, I transplanted in the greenhouse, and they're huge. And then we planted the 2nd planting. We planted 2 different varieties. Oh, jeez, I stalled it. Well, I didn't think that was gonna happen. Wow, that's weird. I had to restrict the governor, which is basically just throttling it down so that Mom could plant, because we don't have another person to help her. And so we were going up the hill. I thought I just stalled the tractor. Well, here, the tractor actually ran out of gas. So it's gonna sit there till morning until we can get to town. We have like 7 gas jugs and they're all empty. So we gotta get that filled and then we can finish the rows. No big deal. We don't like to let our stuff run out of gas, but it happens every once in a while. That's where I'm gonna call it a wrap for today. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and always remember, it ain't much, but it's honest work.